It's Sunday the 20th of May today. A lovely morning for once. Wow. And this is Bellingham. We've just left Lindale Guest House. Just been into the co-op there, so Tina's munching on a fruit pastel lolly at the moment. It's not really that hot, it's just the shock of the sun being out. Well off the banks here. Just because it's a bit sunny today, you think it's a heat wave, yeah. Don't you? It's still only about 16 degrees. Look at all these flags everywhere at the moment. Olympic mania has struck.
It's all Union Jacks, isn't it?
Even in the shop, the sweets all had it on. Pasties, lollies, chocolate.
Crisps.
There's Lynn View over there with the white sign outside. I stayed at that place 2007 when I was doing my car tour of the north. You know you're getting cookies in your hair there, don't you? They're all crumbs coming out in your hair. Some nice goodies from the co-op here, the rolls. That's healthy food, you see. Got some fruit juice this time, we're going overboard with the healthy. We've also got some Tang Fast sticks, some fruit pastels, some Snickers and Mars, so not quite so good. Cokes. The thing I like is the cookies here, very tasty, but the allergy advice here, what it may contain. Nuts, sesame seeds, wheat, gluten, barley, egg, oats, milk, mustard, rye, soya, sulfites, celery, crustaceans, fish, lupin and mollusks. Oh, I love those mollusk cookies there. And the crustacean ones aren't bad either. Look at that. God. Brilliant, eh? So here's the burn, as they call it locally. And that way it leads off to Hareshaw Lynn, that beautiful waterfall walk where I was a few years ago. Wow, that cat just walked right across the bridge there on the wall. Very precarious, don't think I'd fancy that. And I don't mind the water, do mind the drop though. The Heritage Centre. Small train carriages there. It's now some sort of cafe or tea bar or something like that. So here we go again then. Another 15 miles to Burness. Yeah. Then that's it. We're done then. It's a bus tour of the northeast after that.
I don't believe it.
Bellingham. Come up quite a big hill to get up here to the first farm of the day. It's quite a warm one today, that's an unusual thing for us now. We've got so used to walking in freezing, bitterly cold conditions.
Yeah, I'm not used to it.
No. What about that camping we were going to do? We were worried that we'd be frozen, that's why we didn't do it.
The relief of being out at night.
It'd be nice now.
Yeah.
Well, as long as it doesn't snow later or something, that is.
Yeah.
God, how exhausting is this already?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the next sit down.
Me too. So far today, it's not been bad, has it?
No, it's been very warm.
And the ground's just been this firm grass stuff, so not too bad. The worry is we're heading out that way now onto the wild moors, so could be a bit wet out there. Now onto the moorland section here. It's actually not bad going, is it, at the moment?
Not too bad.
It's wet, isn't it, but not actually sort of...
Yeah.
There's only little boggy patches. It doesn't really slow you down too much, which is a big change from yesterday. So we'll see how things go, because we're going to be very late if we don't get a move on here. So we've already got slightly damp boots from that trudge, but it's not been too bad so far.
No, so far.
We've hit the first... What do you think about that then? This bit is just bog for the next 10 yards, 15 yards, half a mile, who knows. This is horrible this way. That's just liquid peat there. There's a great big trench over there as well, that's worrying. I think round to the left has got to be... I mean, how do you get through that? Is it too big for you to jump? Because I think I could jump that. Did you get away with it?
Yeah.
Now this looks horrible around here as well, doesn't it? I mean, it just looks like firm reeds or something. You think, oh, nothing wrong with that, but when you put your foot on it, and then all the water just comes right out if you put any weight on it at all. No, this is no good for going through today. Doesn't really look a problem, does it? You just think it's dry grass or something. I can actually feel the water going through my boots as I stand here on this moss stuff. You just sink straight down into... Where's my foot gone? Just gone right through under the water. Great. And again. And again. Again. Oh, Jesus, that was a bad one. Oh, completely gone under that time. See, this is what you've got. Lovely scenery, isn't it? But underfoot is a different story. Oh, I can feel myself, I've sunk again as I'm talking. That particular horrible bit seems to be behind us, but there's more ahead, that's the sad thing. Outcrops of rock in the distance. We're just having a little sit down here, first of all for a rest of course, but also we just want to have a little look at the maps to see if we might just cut across by going on the roads. I think it will probably add a little bit of distance if we do the roads, but it's probably going to be quicker in terms of time. Certainly a lot easier. That stuff back there, you can't even stand on it.
Yeah, it slows you down so much, and it's quite tricky, isn't it, to climb over.
And you're picking a route.
Yeah.
If you stop just for a second, your foot sinks in.
Yeah.
Nice that they bothered with the bridge at this point. They don't usually, it seems.
Normally we'd have to walk over this when it comes over.
Squelch through it.
Yeah.
So we're going on the roads then, are we?
Yeah.
It's the only way we're going to make it, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll take too long going the other way.
So I don't think we're missing a great deal. Basically, those last hills that we went over, that's pretty much it for today.
Yeah.
Until we get to the forest, and then we join the Pennine Way there anyway. So, I mean, ideally we'd have liked to have done the proper route, but it's totally impractical, unfortunately. So first we just have to head on over to Hareshaw House there in the background. That's where the Pennine Way goes anyway. Then we'll leave that and head down to the road. This is the problem, constantly avoiding stuff like that. Every few yards, literally, you'll come to something like this, which is just a bit of a nuisance, really, but every so often you get to a bit which is almost totally impassable, which is worse. Yeah, there's just this one more field that we've got to go through that's a bit of a concern to me.
Okay.
And the rest of the day, I reckon, should be pretty straightforward after that. Fingers crossed. Despite looking like a nice day today, it was a bit cool back there at that sit down, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's quite hot when you're sort of going uphill, and the sun's quite hot.
Yeah, and in these jackets as well, they don't really let the air in as well, so As soon as you get going, you steam up a bit. Amazing countryside around here, that's for sure.
We've reached a bit of a dead end.
The old enemy strikes again. Yeah, and the water you hear off to the right here means there's no way through here either. God, you should see the colour of it again. Look at that. It's that luminous orange colour. Look at the colour of the soil here. God, that's really weird, isn't it? It's like Africa or something like that. That's really abnormal there, isn't it? So this one's actually been no trouble to get round at all. We just had to backtrack 30 yards or so and go round it because it's a little spring. Most of them are a right pig to get round. See that road in the distance there? That's where we're headed for. So this is where the Pennine Way carries straight on across the hills out that way. We're just about to take a left here to swing down to a little footbridge and go onto the roads.
Should we put that bit of wood over there?
Yeah, we've got a new bridge here,
Yeah.
which is lovely. Thank you very much for that, over the river. But look, there's this bog stuff. And look behind us is where the old bridge remnants are. Just shove them on the bog, someone, please. Nice little burn here. Leads down into Hareshaw Burn. Over in that direction, that's where we really ought to have been walking now on the Pennine Way, over those moors. But if we did that, we would not get there until God knows what time. I mean, I'm worried about what time we will actually get there now. Yeah. Oh. I mean, it is just wading, isn't it, basically? Don't even know why they bothered to put a sodding bridge there in the first place.
1 minute.
You just come 10 yards past it and it's just totally saturated here. What the hell are they thinking? Why bother with a bridge? Think it's any better over that way? I don't know. How do you get through this stuff?
Right, there's another little channel here.
See this stuff in front of where I'm standing, it just looks lovely here, doesn't it? It looks like just grass. But through there, I mean, that's just like a bottomless pit of sludge down there. You cannot step on it. There's just a big chasm of filth about a foot deep. So thank goodness we've made it onto the road now. Oh, no more of that horrible bog stuff. We know we're alright pretty much for the rest of the day now. So we've come from the B road, which is over in that direction. And now we're on these little teeny roads until we go into the forest a few miles ahead. The sun's gone in at the moment as well. It's cooled down quite noticeably with that gone. So it's basically just a big trudge the rest of the day. See if we can get there before it gets dark.
We get locked out.
We should still try and enjoy this though, you know that.
Yeah.
It's the last bit of walking on the trip, serious walking.
Yeah.
Ah,
This.
yeah. Can't believe it's all over really. Almost. Don't let yourself think it just yet. This is Sundaysight farm in the middle of nowhere. We've just stopped to take off our gaiters and we're walking without them for the first time on the trip, seeing as we've got a few miles without going into undergrowth or anything. Particularly like the way that you're carrying yours there.
Look, isn't it?
It's a great look, yeah. The swinging motion's the best bit. Quite strange, isn't it? All those years I walked without gaiters and now it feels really bizarre.
Yeah, it does. It's like something missing.
My legs feel all different.
Yeah.
That's the way we're heading, that way. That's where the Pennine Way is, up there somewhere. This is the way we've come from. And out there is just more wilderness, as far as the eye can see. Just following this track now for ages. Eventually we'll get into the woods up there. It's along our way through nothingness, isn't it, out here? God, look at that peace and tranquility all around. God, this track's going on for a long time. Technically, I think this is a road rather than just a track. But get the impression it doesn't get a lot of ordinary cars on it, this one. God, this road goes on forever, doesn't it? And we haven't even reached the halfway point yet. And then we've got to do all those miles through the woods as well. Then we get to Burness. Might be dark by then. When you're on the go today, it's quite warm, isn't it, out in this sun? I've just touched my camera in my pocket though, and it's quite cold, the metal on that, so I don't think it's that warm again today. But in the sun it is. Oh, look at that. Amazing views out there. So we've now emerged from that track, as I would call it, onto this much more major road here. I mean, this one's obviously a significant one, isn't it, frankly?
Yeah, I think.
It's evidently just being left to fall into complete disuse.
That it was like ages ago, doesn't it?
Yeah. You could, if it said 3 miles, you wouldn't say,
No.
wow, we've done 3. You would say, yep. See those rays of light coming through the cloud over there? There's a strange thing over there in the distance that I first saw in 2007 when I was here. See, it's got proper stonework in there. Interesting thing, isn't it?
I wonder what it could be.
Got a nice road sign here. You can obviously see, oh, look at that one. They're letting the side down, aren't they? Gee. It's a hawk or something, falcon. So how many cars have we seen so far? Oh God, I'm getting fed up with continually moving out the road for these cars. It goes on forever though, doesn't it? The good thing is that forest up ahead in the distance, that's where we're headed on this road. Then we rejoin the Pennine Way in there, hopefully. Mind you, it's still a fair few miles once we get there. So there we go, along the road, stretching off into the distance, into the forest, and then continue through the forest all the way to Byrness. Oh, this is a long one today. Oh, we finally made it to the forest.
Yay.
Redesdale Forest. I'm knackered and we're something like halfway through the day.
Don't say that.
The sun is kind of low at this moment, isn't it? Considering we've still got miles and miles left to do. Underway again. Long walk through the woods ahead. This stuff is not easy to walk on, is it really? Especially not with the blisters and the sore feet that I've got. How are you doing, Fur?
Yeah, feet a bit sore now.
Yeah. What about blisters?
I've got one, but I think it is healing up, so not too
Oh, this is a good sign.
Okay.
Literally. Pennine Way. Yes, we've caught up with it again. That means we've done about a mile or maybe a little more through the forest. Supposedly 9 3/4 miles that way is Bellingham. We've come down the gravel track there. So we reckon that equals around about 5 miles to go now till we get to Burness. You ready to go? Let's go. It's that difficult ground again. It's a pretty remarkable scene in here. Although it's not trees as far as the eye can see, it is wilderness as far as the eye can see. That's the way we've come from. That's where we're going, out there in the distance. That track winding through the landscape. It's getting dusky now, still going through the forest here. Still got at least a couple of miles to Burness, probably 2.5, maybe up to 3. That in the distance is the Cheviots, the very distance. That's where we will not be going now tomorrow. And somewhat of a relief it actually is too. It's a bit disappointing of course, but I think we're both pretty exhausted now, and having known the past few days that this is the end, well, we're glad this is the end. So we're just coming out of the woods now. We've gone past the building and past a couple of bridges, and Burness is not too far away now. I reckon a mile, maybe 1.5 miles, something like that.
Not too far then.
I did sort of envisage us getting to this point when it was dark a few hours ago,
Yeah.
so I think we're going alright at the moment.
We did quite well that last bit.
Lovely views of the river here as we're walking through the woods. This is a really nice section, isn't it, this one?
Lovely.
I prefer this to the other bit, the main woods that we were doing.
You feel like you're actually walking through the woods. The other bit, they're just off to the side, don't they? You can see. It's a bit more natural, isn't it?
Yeah, nice feeling in here. Just approaching 9:30 now. Look at this, isn't this beautiful, this bit? And quite unexpected as well, isn't it? Sort of a double river coming together here. Now we've just got this last stretch over to Burness, through the woods and to the little hamlet. There's a ford there, but luckily we're on the footbridge now, just about to enter Burness. So we arrived at Burness at about 10:10, and we were going to be shoved in the dormitories by the sound of it, but luckily Joyce came to the rescue and suggested we go in this room. Hurrah! It's nothing special, that's for sure, but I'd say it's at least of the standard of the Crown in Horton, wouldn't you?
Yeah, this is like £20 night.
And the Crown in Horton was £38.50.
Yeah.
Jesus. So that's our last day of the Pennine Way walk. Can you believe it?
Strange to not be walking.
Yeah, so bus to Kelso tomorrow,
Yeah.
then Kirkyettam. You're only supposed to see that place if you've actually walked the last bit, but never mind. Berwick, and then on Thursday, back to Gilling.